Review the minutes for October 14th, 2015.
Maybe it's just a typographical error on page 5 under J. Oh, not quite halfway down. It's, village can always reduce the project as needed. Is that supposed to be one or once?
Once.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
And then on the very last page, on the public comment, I mentioned about the hats being removed during the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay. If you want that added, I will add that. You don't have to put those comments.
Don't have to, but I think
You want it in there?
I would, yes.
And if you will, in the line above where one is now going to be once, after estimates, close parenthesis on page 5, the comma should be a semicolon.
Mr. Webb, you're going to have to speak up, I can't hear you.
Yes, page 5, on the line above, the one become once. The phrase, once the numbers are in the line above, after the estimates, close parenthesis, the comma should be a semicolon, because following the comma is a complete sentence.
Okay.
Each stands out, so a trifle, but Mr. Thomas Senior and I both noticed the one become once. I noticed the other.
I make a motion that the minutes of the 10 October 14th, 2015 meeting be approved with additions and corrections.
Is there a second?
Now, of course.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Review of the bills.
You can add one more bill to the list. $650 from Cass Heating and Air.
Where is it go, Mayor?
It goes in the general, or comes out of the general. Makes the total now, the total, $35.95.22.
35, 95,
22.
22. And where's,
What's it for?
It's for repairs to the boiler. I should say annual repairs to the boiler. It's a little more this year. There was more problems this year.
what was that? What was the amount on the bill?
$650.
Is that here in this building?
Yep.
Let's see. The electric bill for building 161 at 120.96. We was running, I think, air conditioner in the summertime. That was, is this what that is?
Yeah. It's still, if the heat and or air are on, and the last time I checked it, which has been a good 2 months, it was at 55. It was 55 for heat.
I just noticed that it was higher than what the, where did I see, the DPW building, was that?
Yeah.
Same thing, same amount.
I just thought it was a little bit high compared to the. Oh, 4 gigabyte of memory for the clerk's computer. Last month, didn't we get some memory also?
No, we did. I mean, it was installed last month, but I'm not sure if we paid for it.
Okay, I think you might have, but,
Duplicated.
yeah, you might want to just check on it.
Yeah.
high-capacity phone lines, is that what you guys talk about that? You want to add high-capacity phone lines from the tower pump to the house communication?
That's what.
That's where they talk
That's how
back
they
and
talk
forth,
back and
right?
forth, yeah.
As far as
Yep.
we need water, shut it off, and so on and so forth.
Yep.
Anybody want to pay the bills?
I make a motion that we pay the bills in the amount of $3,595.22.
Is there a second?
And I'll second it.
Roll call.
Irwin,
Yes.
Simmons,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Webb,
Yep.
Welborn.
Yes. Mr. Rich Drews, is he here?
Don't see him.
Okay. Blight inspection reports?
You have the full shot right there if you want to look at it.
These two are down at Marcellus.
Our problem is east of,
Please, I thought that was that.
that's the one down there, Jones, and
Okay, and that's, so this must be the one back.
that's the one that's got Birch Falls. This one here, I think that's Mike Holmes' house, wasn't it?
Yeah, the blue brick house on the corner.
Okay. Okay.
We want to go on, or, because we can look at these a little bit later if we want.
We take care of them probably.
I make a motion that we accept the September 2015 monthly ordinance violation report and place it on file.
I'll second it.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Public comment. Jim, Junior.
Yeah, I've noticed in the last week or so that, some people have moved in town, I believe. They don't know we have a no burn ordinance and they're burning leaves. Maybe just put a thing in the next water bill to let them know about the ordinance and there's no leaf burning.
That's probably not a bad idea, because I know we've got a neighbor that I'm not too sure he's aware of it either, and he also moved in. They just don't know, I'm assuming, I hope that's the case.
The one house, I can't swear to, they've probably been here for the last probably 3 or 4 years, they probably know and don't care,
Well,
but
then we got another problem, if that's the case. Do we want to do that, Krista?
Okay. I'm losing my voice too, so it's probably this.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
I just have one little question. I have something to say about the DDA. Should I wait until you get down here to the DDA committee reports, or?
How fast do you want to get out of here?
Baseball game to watch.
Let's hear it.
Okay.
Cubs aren't in it.
I'm Jill Dwyer, 450 South Maple Street. Mary, the clerk, his assistant clerk, whatever, deputy clerk, whatever she is, she's been helping me do a finance report for the DDA. And I had talked to Ron about it, and I said, because it's DDA, is it all right if she helps me on company time? Because she was a little hesitant about it. So I would like to have the council's blessing that if I have to come in during her work time or whatever, if, she'd spend 5-10 minutes with me, that there's no problem.
Is that usually what it is, 5-10 minutes, just a question on this and that?
Mhm.
I would see no problem.
And then
So-
she writes that, well, she helps me figure out something like your bills are coming out on, because I haven't learned how to use the computer to do that yet, so. But she wants to show me that, then she won't, have to do it anymore, so. But I would just, because I I don't want to receive, midnight email that, accuses me of doing something derogatory, so I would like the council's permission for this.
I see no problem with it. Does anybody else?
No.
I move that Mary Young be authorized to assist the Downtown Development Authority and Jill Dwyer in particular in preparing some currently required financial reports
Support.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
during village office hours.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. You're all set.
Thank
Mike,
you.
was that the same one, or did you have one?
No.
Let me just say one other thing. I think it's simply a demonstration of intergovernmental cooperation and it's appropriate.
Thank you.
I live at the same place she does.
I hope so.
Is it necessary that
You
you
did.
use this on me?
It's not to be pointed directly at you.
What I got to say may take more than 3 minutes. Can I get the council to indulge me?
I don't have a problem.
Okay.
And I read in there that what I say is directed to the village president. Actually, what I got to say is directed to the council. Is that a problem also, or not, or?
No.
Okay. The last time I was on this side of a council table, I think it was 97 or 98. My lovely wife was the president. And I came then, basically for the same reason I'm coming now, to communicate a few thoughts to the council that I believe needs to be communicated. As you know, Jill was on the council for 6 years and president for 4. No, the other way around. But anyway, it was her watch that I came the last time, so I'm not biased at how I handle it, I guess. But I really don't like to be here on this side, nor did I like being on that side. But when I was on that side, I learned some things that I'm talking about tonight. And when I was on council, it didn't take long to figure out who ran the council. And it wasn't the council or the president, it was the clerk. And I think a clerk's supposed to do clerk stuff, not run stuff. But anyway, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that the clerk's appointed by the council, is that correct?
Mhm.
Okay. And the deputy clerk is appointed by the council.
Correct, yes, in the end.
And from the conclusion that I've done down through the years here lately, and being on the council, the whole problem with this village is our clerk and deputy clerk. And I think this council needs to get rid of them. And when you do get rid of them, appoint Mary, the temporary clerk. I think she can handle things until we get things straightened out. And I think you need to reintroduce the ordinance that makes the clerk position an elected position. I don't know how we got rid of it, but we shouldn't have. I think this is gonna help us out a bunch. The other thing I gotta say is, you guys gotta quit fighting your battles in the newspaper. You know, if you got battles to fight, fight them right here or take them out back. But get out of the newspaper. I read that thing Ann had in there, you know, and as I'm reading it, I'm saying to myself, boy, she's lucky I wasn't village president. I wouldn't have been so nice. You guys gotta start getting your act together. We got a little community here, and we're trying to survive.
In other words, you feel that I should just take what he said and not do anything at all about it? I feel he was just as much out of order as I was, Mike.
No, I
Well, you were
disagree.
here, you didn't know.
But anyway, you know, we're a little community, we're trying to survive. And I understand there's rules to the game. I'm in favor of rules. But there ain't a person in this town that would not mind you people bending a rule just a little tiny bit if it made our town better. And I know nobody would mind that at all. At all. You know, I love living here. I've been here 32 years, Jill and I. We raised our family here, we educated our kids here, and we like it here. And there's other people that are just like me that won't want to say anything. I've tossed this around a long time coming in here and talking about this. And I feel bad about it, actually. I really do. Seriously, I feel bad about it. But this has gotten out of hand. Totally. Totally out of hand. One more comment and I'll be done here. The DDA thing, Jill, our DDA is the backbone of this town, and I don't think you guys give him enough credit. I think Terry Roberts, as president, has done a tremendous job for what he's done, and he needs to be put on a pedestal somehow. I'm serious. That DDA is the backbone. That building sat there 11 years and never drew a nickel of revenue until Jill and Terry got together and bought it for $75, and now look at it. It's created a whole bunch of tax revenue. I don't know how many jobs are over there, but our DDA needs to be commended more than they are. I'm flat serious. Terry Roberts don't even live in this town, and he dedicates an awful lot of hours to that, and I think he's done a tremendous job. And finally, back when I was a union guy, I still am a union guy, but back when I was active, our meetings, when we ended them with something that I always kind of relished. And I kind of like to see you guys adopt it. What we called it was for the good of the union. And anybody could make a statement, the president, anybody on the council, anybody in the audience. And I always thought they were statements that helped us be strong and statements that enlightened us at the time, you know. If you were to decide that, I would like to make the first statement for the good of the community that this council starts doing the right thing. And it's not because I said it. I'm saying it for food for thought. Thank you.
Joe, on Mike's comment as far as the village clerk being elected instead of hired, you're a bookkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem that I have with that is that a person can get elected to the office of clerk and not know what they're doing.
That is a true
And I mean
statement.
that,
But if you were going to elect somebody, that they have to fill that criteria. You have to have a criteria that they have to fill.
I don't think an elected official that you can say that.
Well, I don't think.
Then
any-
adjust the ordinance.
I don't think anybody off the street would run for the position if they didn't have some knowledge.
I'm reaching way back, but there was that problem that we
Well,
did.
I think I know who you're talking about, and that person said this job could be done with one eye closed and one arm behind the back, and they lasted, what, 4 weeks?
No, I'm thinking of somebody else. But that's my thought on that. Okay, thank you, Mike.
You're welcome. I got a baseball game to watch.
Okay. Any more public comment? Consent agenda, letter from the Labor Relations Board?
From the Lakes area,
Oh, Lake, is that what that?
I think. But it looks as though perhaps it might better be recorded in the minutes as a October 22, 2015 letter from the Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs. That's what it was.
Laura.
And that includes several enclosures having to do with, in our case, MediaCom. I move that that 5-page document be received, placed on file.
Support.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. believe there's a telephone number here that, MediaCom, I've never been too happy with MediaCom here in the
I don't think
village.
anybody has been.
I guess there's a,
One thing I would note about MediaCom, on a list of, I noticed a news report that I saw on the internet about cable TV. I get a number of, subscribe to a number of different sources. Comcast is rated 298 out of 301 in quality of service. MediaCom is rated at 299. Anyway, one happens to be a behemoth, one happens to be a bit smaller. But it's marvelous how you can do business not in the best way and still make a lot of money.
it's very true.
However, I think that, as I read it, while the general public could contact the state regulatory body, this communication is really directed at municipal governments as the party to make a complaint. And I don't see anything in the communications that suggests that one can appeal beyond to the Court of Appeals, which normally one would from a state regulatory body, but perhaps that's the case.
Okay, President's report. HUD program, that it looks like maybe the HUD program's on hold for the village of Marcellus till the first of the year,
Still.
till hopefully
And
somebody
she's-
gets some money.
She's very disappointed it's not going where she wanted.
Yeah, I am too, because I think it could help us out. Use of the old tennis courts that, I'm having trouble getting the history back. I'm trying to, have you and Darla met, Ann?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, we're going to the November 16th pantry board meeting and talk to the pantry board.
And I wrote the DNR.
Oh, okay, I guess that was my next thought there, that the DNR would probably, at this point in time, be the only one that would cause us problems.
Well, or they might have information to help us out too.
Oh, that's true too, yeah.
I think what you're dealing with is perhaps the application of the doctrine of cypre, small cy, space PRES, I think that's the spelling, old French term, where an original, for example, an original charitable use no longer is possible. What variation on the theme might be appropriate? And it rather seems to me that you may need some resort to your legal counsel on this ultimately, not immediately, but you're exploring a possible future community use of the property, and that may well fit or suit the purpose, because it wouldn't require the entire area occupied by the former tennis courts for it, unless you begin to expand that, you could, and it could become, it seems to me, if you were to call it and use it as a community garden, but under arrangements that the village would establish, it still would be a community use.
I guess we'll,
And what I'm saying to you now is not no, but perhaps how.
yeah, all right. I guess our next thing.
One other thing, I noticed the name of an individual in the minutes of the last meeting, I think. But Bobby Norton and his brother would also be descendants, and perhaps might involve them in terms of any interest or suggestion they might have. Bob and his brother.
Terry Nolan might be Michael. They're related to, I believe.
M-I-K-E-L, Michael, that Michael?
I've talked with Wanda. She had no problem.
Brother.
Well, I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
It seems to me you might want to investigate what other community garden experience has been. I know the Schoolcraft United Methodist Church has a very active program. There likely are others, but that's the one that comes first to mind in my case. Just in terms of organization, how it's set up, that kind of thing. We don't necessarily need to reinvent process, but perhaps be guided by best practices.
I guess we've got a little bit of time, because nothing's gonna be done till spring, but I'd be interested in.
We're thinking about, seeing South Hotel's not gonna be there, that would be a lovely place for a garden. You couldn't do it, it was just a thought.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. Better than over my neighborhood.
Oh,
Right,
rats.
Mary Kay?
Might be a tomato fight.
Update discussion, adding 2 council members to the council. But we got a letter back from the attorney. And the way I'm interpreting everything is that we would have to amend ordinance number 209. And that was the ordinance that went from
7 to 5, or 6 to 4.
It's hard to keep that straight as far as the president, you know, the numbers and everything, but you're right, 6 to 4. Amend that, and then the 2 council members, that they would have to be elected at the next November 2016 election in order for us to go to 6, and then it'd be the 2 elected members.
Given when current members' terms expire, assuming the council was expanded from 4 to 6, one would have a 2-year term, one would have a 4-year term, simply because of when current members expire, since we staggered. Secondly, I think it would be useful to include in that ordinance a couple of other things, one of which comes to mind, and that is, under a recent state law, compensation of members of the village council, trustee, village president, are to be established by ordinance. And it seems to me it would be useful, we've done that in the past simply by motion or resolution, but it's been many years since there's been any change. And it seems to me that we could take care of, let's say, 2 things or maybe 3 at once in that same ordinance. It doesn't have to be a single issue ordinance. And apropos of compensation, to ratify and confirm prior payment schedules. So that that's taken into effect.
Through the years, the payments will probably change, but you just do that by an
From time to
amendment
time, right.
to the ordinance.
I would move that the October 28, 2015 memorandum from the Bauckham firm by its staff attorney Seth Cochise, K-O-C-H-E-S, be received and placed on file, and perhaps placed in the village, a copy placed in the village, not as part of the motion, but in the village policy manual, et cetera, so that it's available in more than one place.
Would you mind, Burke, working on the ordinance for that?
No, I've previously written a memo on this, and I will check that and trim that down and send that to the clerk and you.
Okay.
But it seems to me there are 2 or 3 housekeeping things that we could take care of in the very same ordinance.
Okay, thank you very much.
One other thing, apropos of going from 4 to 6, I had the impression at some point that Village's legal counsel thought there might be a need for a referendum on the issue, but apparently not.
No,
Okay.
but they, even though they mention or say the word amend, he said that you need a new ordinance, which is no big deal.
But in any event, the 2 additional members would need to meet the same filing deadline for the 2016 election as anyone else whose term is up.
Okay,
That was a motion.
was that a motion?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Without the duplicate filing, et cetera. Yeah, motion to receive and place on file
I'll
the
support.
I'm
attorney's
sorry.
letter.
All in
Okay.
favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, motion carried. When papers are placed on file, where do they really go?
That's a question I've asked for.
You're not sure either, huh?
They stay with the packet.
With the record of the meeting. But I think that it depends on what the document is, where perhaps a duplicate ought to be filed. And this is one of those that shouldn't just be restricted to the record of the meeting.
Clarify the dates of the new meeting time and day. And I think Krista had a, there you go.
Take your pick for any combination thereof.
I kinda liked what you had.
Which one?
Oh, for November and
Basically, given
December.
the 2 choices.
Oh, I didn't realize that. The first one,
The 10th and the 24th?
yeah,
So that's second and fourth.
okay, yeah.
Which would be consistent with the motion made.
It's gonna be November the 10th and the 24th and December the 8th and the 22nd?
Yeah, or whatever you guys wanna do. Okay, and that is what was, that was, or it said beginning on, so November 10th, we can never go any further, but that works fine. Just so I have something to put up and
Right.
Are we okay with it then, or?
I think, even though a motion was made to change, no harm in adopting a motion noting I move consistent with a change in meeting dates of the village council from second and fourth Wednesdays at 6 PM to Tuesday, second and fourth Tuesdays at 7.
From 6 to 7?
Yeah.
That the council designates the remaining regular meetings for this year as Tuesday, November 10, Tuesday, November 24, Tuesday, December 8, and Tuesday, December 22, all at 7 PM in this area. And would request that a display ad to the same effect be published in the Marcellus News and online.
Moving on.
And if we can have a second,
Oh,
I'll support it.
thank you.
all in favor signify by, do we have to?
We'll have to roll call on that.
Mrs. Simmons,
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Webb?
Yes.
Welborn?
Yes.
Irwin?
Yes.
Okay, we're moving on. Website quotes, updated, that I think we ought to advertise, at least in the local newspaper, as far as quotes for a website for the village of Marcellus.
I think that we need to establish what we're looking for
It's
before
pretty,
we ask.
it's pretty difficult to do that.
And it is, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It is, we were not looking for a website. We don't need a website. We don't have to have a website.
An independent one.
If It's an added expense that we don't have to have.
So
It
you're
doesn't
saying
matter
to stay
where-
with John the way we are right now?
Or not stay, it doesn't matter, it's not something that we have to have. It is valuable because we can set up our own Facebook. It was, the website wasn't the concern until we get to be an RRC community.
Oh, what?
Which is,
Redevelopment ready community. When we signed up with John, I think it might have been 2011, it was to move towards RRC. There was not a hotel issue then. Then we put him on hold and said, forget it, we've got a hotel issue. So if you want a website, you can have one, it's a great idea, but it's an added expense. So it doesn't matter either way,
I have.
but we should at least say what.
Pardon me, I had an impression from what I heard at a council meeting several meetings ago, that one of the requirements for the state paying revenue sharing to the village had to do with posting certain records online.
Nope, that is not the case, and it keeps coming up like that. You don't have to put the e-VIP online. They originally told us we did, but they turned around and said, within 6 months, the first meeting I went to, we all had a fit because they said you have to put this online. You don't have to put it online. You have to have it available in the clerk's office or online. It has to be available somewhere. The purpose of it is to, they really did want us to put it online, but you're not gonna lose your funding if you don't put it online. They're not gonna take that away from us. And when the purpose of the whole e-VIP is to educate and be transparent to the public. But if any of you have ever viewed the documents, all they do is serve to confuse the public. They're not useful
They're
information.
not transparent themselves.
No, they confuse people. It's a requirement, so we do it, but it's not valuable to the community.
So what's the thoughts of the council? Do you want to, are we gonna disappear off the computer altogether? Or are we gonna have a website?
Well, I think we need a website, just because of what's been going on that particular site. It's, it's turns into an individual's personal opinion about other people, and it's like a witch hunt.
Okay.
I think that's a separate issue, but having a website or its equivalent permits the institution to project itself, and not simply for posting of public records such as minutes and ordinances and so on, although those are useful. But also in terms of economic development, tourism, other things, it's not, it's not required, but I think if the village does move toward an independent website, it ought to be dynamic, by which I mean it's not simply a static repository for records and that sort of thing. You can always use GoDaddy.
I kind of,
I'm sorry.
But that's not as elaborate as you might want.
As a guideline, you could use the RRC.
Certainly. We
That's
shouldn't
what
lose
we
sight of
agreed,
that particular
right.
possibility.
Even though we're not ready to go for certification, many years ago, we said, let's be consistent with what they want. So if you do want a website, at least be consistent with the RRC. So when we do want to be certified, then we're already there with the website.
My thoughts are advertise for quotes and quote, whatever quotes you get back,
Right.
that I would like to see prior experience of building websites for municipalities. And they can say, I built one for them, I built one for them, or whatever, then you can get on your computer,
Right.
you can take a look at these sites and see, is that what I really want?
Right.
And what I'm seeing is for less than $3,000 that you can get a website established. And that, for under $30, it'll be a monthly fee, under $30 for that website. You will have to maintain that site yourselves, because I understand that they're not that difficult to maintain.
You simply have to have the training tools, school yourself on how to do it.
Well, they furnish,
A tool,
Yes.
software, sort of thing.
they will show you how to.
I do think Mrs. Jordan makes a proper point. If you advertise, you at least ought to have some sense of basic requirements that you want anyone responding to answer or comment on, rather than simply saying, well, you can do either. And simply put the ad in the form of, we're considering doing such and so, and contact us, that kind of thing, just as simple as that, on up to the more elaborate, what requirements you want the system to meet. And on the other hand, many of us here may not be qualified to take care of the latter, so you might very well, for example, want to talk to one or both of these businesses that have responded, so you have a sense of what they can do on a face-to-face basis, and get some idea of, well, what do you really want? At some point, you're right, you're gonna have to talk to somebody.
So you wanna develop some sort of a bid parameter and then ask in that they provide samples that you can view. And maybe it would be nice to be able to call someone and say, who's using it, to see if that management tool is something that we can handle.
That's very true.
I looked up this CMS that's on here. It's not, that would not be, well, and Mary's very astute when it comes to those things, and she said, nah, it doesn't mean that he can't teach us. It just means that that one's, we're not comfortable with at this point. It's nice to be able to just email and say, put it on the site, put it on the site. And if they're willing to do that, then it's the same as put it in the newspaper. Same, send an email to the newspaper and say, please publish. It's the same idea. Get someone, and if we can, if it's simple and we can maintain it and try it out ahead of time, then that would be good, to at least try it.
Well, that's why my thoughts were to look at an individual corporation or whatever that has done previous websites for municipalities, and then you can call up those municipalities and say, hey, what kind of
Yeah.
have you had problems with it? Is it easy to maintain, and so on and so forth? That this one that I gave you the papers on, that they do Mendon, and they do Colon, and they do Constantine, and they do the city of Three Rivers, and, you know, and my idea is that you can call these places up and say, you know,
And you
or
should-
ask.
And you should go to their websites and see whether
Absolutely.
they're static or dynamic. City of Dowagiac site, last time I looked at it, seemed rather static, simply general, and didn't really take you very far. And I've seen another one recently that's upstate in Oceana County, and they are just beginning a process of where that should go.
And I think the problem is that I understand Krista wanting parameters, but we're all pretty ignorant about what we're talking about, you know, whatever you wanna
Well,
say.
it was, I mean, you couldn't, I couldn't decipher exactly what it was gonna cost.
On John's, you mean, or the other?
Either one, either one. Could not understand what we were buying.
The cost that I seen, the one that I've looked at, the cost was $2,800 to establish the site, and then it was under $30 for monthly fees.
And
And
then
if,
there's,
go ahead.
would you agree that we do not need a .gov?
Yeah.
So we can at least say that we can go, stay with a .org. It's,
I don't wanna be associated with that, not Marcellus.org.
no, .org is just the extension, it has nothing to do with
You could put the
that.
village, I guess, of Marcellus or something.
Decatur is .org, it's the .org is just, it's just.
Why do you
the-
want it to keep
Or-
waiting? Give us a reason why.
I don't care about whether it's .org, .net, .com, .gov, it makes no difference to me.
But you might want to consider using .gov. I'm not sure whether there's some difference in cost of internet access for that. But it would signify that the website is for a government
That's true.
Yeah.
rather than a nonprofit.
But these are questions, I think, to ask to whoever you think you might want to use as a provider, to ask them these questions. That we don't have to say .gov, .org, to starting out.
The .gov is just a more, I don't wanna say secure, because they're all secure in the equally secure, let's say that.
Yeah.
But when you go to a .gov website, you know, hey, this is a government website. Nobody is putting information on here that's garbage.
Didn't you start out saying we don't want to go to .gov?
No, I'm saying, would you agree that we don't need to, because that is a very secure, it's not something that we need. It's not, it just, if you are on a .gov website, then you're sure.
Are you pro or con for .gov? I'm getting confused as to
I'm
where your
not-
argument, or
I'm
not
not
argument,
either.
your
I wanna
discussion.
know, I'm not either. I wanna know, it's a little bit more money, and it's, from what I understand, a little bit more difficult to manage.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter to me, I just wanna know what you guys want.
I think that's a question
I
to
think,
ask
yeah,
whoever,
I agree.
whoever you're gonna work with.
Yeah.
Did some research and I found a generic bid package that, as I understand it, some of the rest of the communities have used, and there are no parameters or anything, it's just kind of, you know, we are looking for somebody to build a website for us and contact, you know, number, so on and so forth, it's pretty generic. But since we don't know the parameters that we think we really need, I don't know what else to do.
Why don't we just use the RRC? That's where we wanna go someday. And it's not, it is also vague, but it's a direction. Because I don't know how to write a request. We're looking for someone to build a website, and we will need these 3 things.
Are there any limitations to the RRC?
The RRC is, no, the RRC is a redevelopment-ready community program that the state of Michigan put out that says if you do these certain things and you have a website with this on it, and you have, you know, if you can see zoning on the website, then check, you get your brownie points for all these different things. It isn't just relating to a website, it's relating to how you deal with the businesses and what information you provide them. Once you can be certified, the state comes in, they certify by checking off all these things, not just website related. And then when you get certified, then for that year, for the next year, they put you on their list and they the state of Michigan tries very hard to bring business to you. They'll continue to do it, but for that 1 year, once you're certified, that is their mission. They have, X amount of communities, maybe 5 or 10 a year, and they go out and they work for those committees or communities to bring business in. We are not anywhere near ready to be certified, but when we first introduced this, we said, let's make decisions that go towards that.
Consistent.
Everybody else is confused as what I am about this.
I think we should, I have to agree with you. I think we should put a generic ad in the paper or bid saying we are looking to set up a website. We need this, this, and this. Please come and help us.
And what I'm saying is the this, and this, we can get from the RRC. We'll look at the RRC and say, it says you need a homepage, it says you need zoning, and it says you need, that's all I'm saying. Do your generic, but
Consistent with.
But look on the RRC and say, well, we're gonna need this, this, and this, so.
I can
that's-
understand
Yeah.
that.
If we can, let's proceed on a consensus basis without requiring a formal motion. I do think that as part of the process, if there's a generic that you're working from or looking at, if you would make that available to the rest of us so that we're all playing on the same page.
I will.
But I do think, we do need one thing. And I think Mrs. Simmons has made the motion, and I'll second it, that we run an ad.
We gonna run that more than in Marcellus?
Basically asking interested vendors to contact the village about
It depends on how
developing
much
the
money you want to
website.
spend, but I don't care.
I have to agree with Jim.
If we're gonna do this, I think we need to have it more than the Marcellus News, because you're only gonna get one person if you have the Marcellus News.
If you go, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Three Rivers is, their cost has gotten better, much better than it used to be. And then if you hit it on the right day, then they'll put it in Kalamazoo Gazette also.
Okay.
Is 3 Rivers still 6 days a week, are they down to 3 or 4
The
days?
last ad we ran was 6 days.
My thought about the motion is that it isn't something that needs to run in next week's paper, but when you are ready for it, you've got the authorization and you can use the authority.
You got something to add, Karen?
Yeah, just a suggestion. I think Craigslist would be a good opportunity as well. Craigslist has a section for Southwest Michigan, so you would capture everyone basically from Grand Rapids South and West. I think that would be a good opportunity. I think Mary could very easily write a Craigslist ad for it, and
We could be so flooded that.
well, but techie people would
That's
likely look on Craigslist for work like that. So
Yeah.
I think it might be a good option.
Do you wanna add that to your, do you wanna add that to your?
Yeah,
Yeah.
please, let's
Okay.
do that.
And do you wanna continue your second?
So what, are we going for the 3 Rivers, Marcellus, and Craigslist, is that what we're doing? Okay. Roll call.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
Yep.
Welborn?
Yes.
Irwin?
Yes.
Simmons?
Yes.
That's a double yes.
Clerk manager's report.
You saw this quote, which hasn't changed, same thing we get every year. It's for maintenance, $95 a year, and then they charge for any materials that they need and any additional labor that's beyond. It's for the boiler in the DPW building. And I know one time we did have a problem and they were right here for us. And I think next year, if we do this,
Are they the
Yes.
same ones that do work here?
no, we have gas heating there for here. Yeah, it says $90 earned on your furnace for being covered for 9 years.
Ellen, what do you think about Bel Air?
They're the ones that installed it, I believe.
Yeah.
So I think keep them coming. They're just doing the preventative maintenance on it, and I would suggest keeping them.
If you ever consider another provider, not to contradict what Mr. Hackenberg has recommended, but Andrew Gilstrom runs DeHaan Heating in Kalamazoo, and his business is quite active in this area, but I agree with Mr. Hackenberg, you might as well stay with Bel Air on the equipment that's installed.
Is there a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion that we accept this quote. I can't.
It's good enough.
Good enough, yeah.
I'll support it.
Roll call.
Mr. Webb,
Yes.
Mr. Weldon,
Yes.
Irwin,
Yes.
Simmons,
Yes.
Thomas.
What did the sheriff have to say?
Just what I wrote, that he would like us to come up with a committee or group to discuss what the concerns are.
I think it's probably a pretty good idea, and I think the fire chief and the ambulance director ought to be part of that committee.
We've reviewed, he has recommended before, and we have used that process before with decent results. And I don't think he wants to come in blind, he wants to know what the issues are, if any. So that Mr. Irwin and Mrs. Simmons will serve as that body?
Their plates are pretty full, and I hate to put more on it. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's have it, Mr. Irwin and Mrs. Simmons, and,
Then you're gonna have a quorum.
yeah, we are. We
One
are.
of you's gonna have to opt out.
I really would like the fire chief to be there, so.
I'll opt out.
You gonna sacrifice?
I'm gonna sacrifice, yeah.
If I am the fire chief and not a, if I act as a fire chief,
And it's true, you just would have to be, because you're deliberating on something that the village council, I understand where you're going with that, but it's pushing the line.
Yeah, we better be there.
I would like to see a citizen also on this committee too. Now that I'm not on.
Any volunteers out there?
There you go.
Jim?
Is that gonna be a conflict of interest between father and son?
I wouldn't think so.
Okay,
shouldn't be.
okay.
I mean, he thinks this
I
way,
think,
I
I
that
think
way.
we should have a citizen on it too.
Okay.
The only time I can go and control his mind is when he's running my equipment.
You got the key.
Well, the keys are left to him, but I still control.
So, do we need a motion for that?
I move that the president's appointment of Mr. Irwin and Mr. Thomas Senior to serve as a village council subcommittee on law enforcement services be ratified and confirmed.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any objections?
No, just needed a second on that.
Second.
Thank you.
Irwin,
Mark,
Harris,
yeah.
Junior, Senior, Olson, is there just gonna be 4?
Yeah, 4. I don't think he probably wants any more to the meeting.
Yeah, we should have an audible revote on that since, after the second has been made.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
I had a couple more. Couple of the boys went looking for coats and, well, here. They're the same. We gave them a $65 allowance. They're asking that they could bump this up a little bit to this coat.
I'm gonna get some.
The spring, summer, and it's already got the reflective, and so if you'll go up, like I said, we had given them a $65 allowance, I think, Elton, you said that was a little tight anyhow.
Yeah, that was pushing it.
You-
I got
I
one.
think you skimmed in right under on
Yeah.
a sale. Anyhow, would you consider bumping it up?
This has a liner which can be taken out for warmer weather, and it's fluorescent, so that if you're working on working days or in the overnight period.
I think two.
Emergency service, that would be useful.
So we have just one right now, right? So we need to get two.
We'll need two, right.
Okay, this price here, it says $129.99. Is that what we're looking
Is
at?
that what we're looking at?
Yep, that's the
I
one.
think so. Yeah.
He already got it. It's the other two that are interested.
Jim, are these the, like the couple we showed us last night?
If you saw the picture of them,
No, they're not,
Okay.
because the goats that Bobby got us for the ambulance are over $300.
Oh, okay.
these are still good codes. And they have the cuffs, which is a good idea because you don't want them getting tangled up in equipment or whatever. And they don't have to put their vests on anymore, so.
Have you seen these coats anywhere, Elton, besides
He's
the
got,
picture?
you've got one, haven't you, Elton?
I just got a regular Carhartt coat. Tim just saw them and he was wondering if he could get one like that. And I said, well, you've got to, get permission.
You do not have a jacket like this, or you do have one?
I don't.
So we
no.
would need three then.
I don't need one.
He
Why
just
not?
got,
Because I've got a winter coat.
And the village paid for that coat? Is-
Yes.
So take it back and get one of these. Shouldn't everybody at the DPW have a jacket though alike?
You should, but I mean, it don't, I don't have to have one. If the other two guys want them, I would say go for it.
Well, my personal feeling is, for the extra money, no. I mean, we have got to go and start tightening our belt up some. I mean,
Okay.
we got building over, we're gonna have to go and tear down. And we gotta start cutting,
So you're saying just two then?
I'm saying none.
Oh,
If we're
none?
gonna get them anything, get them like what Elton's got.
Well, two of them like what Elton's got.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
the price.
I think it isn't, we gave them a $65 allowance. If they wanna buy up more, then they can pay it.
Right.
Okay. So the answer is no. Right. Got it. Okay, last thing I have is that, just to let you know, the budget is being worked on. And the EVIP yesterday was 20% done, and today it's 0% done. Because just like they do every year, they change something at the last minute and it scraps what you did. So I'll be starting over on the first leg,
When does this EVIP have to get in?
December.
December.
The first?
Mm-hmm. So if you don't put it in by December 1st, then you lose the
Oh,
money.
December 1st.
Yes,
So in other words, you just got the month of November to work, to get it done, and you're
Yes.
starting at zero
again.
again.
It's a difficult, one part of it they made easy and another part they made harder. But if they would just give us the rules and let you, and not change them a week after you get done with the section. Anyhow, that was just an FYI.
EVIP. You know what EVIP is?
Hmm?
You know what EVIP is?
No.
Dennis?
It's no longer called an EVIP either, even though well, we can't say the other word. That was Economic Vitality Incentive Program. I've told you about it before. It's where they took our revenue sharing away,
Okay.
and then they said you can have 2/3 of it back if you do these things. So, wanting that 2/3 back, we do those things. So if we don't do them, we lose the 30, this year it's 34,000. It's based on your revenue sharing, so it fluctuates a little bit. So that's gotta be done, and then, of course, the budget, which kind of plays into the EBIT.
So your report is the EBIPs that we already done, or what we're gonna do?
We do it, we have to do it every year. In the past years, they've had, part one was due December 1st, part two was due February 1st. It was staggered throughout the year. This year, well, they added another part. It was 4, now it's 5 parts. All 5 parts have to be done by December 1st.
And they just let us know when.
Well, I've known all year that it'll be here, but after the second year, I learned not to try to do it ahead of time because they change it. This time I thought I was pretty safe, but they changed it. I just got an email this morning. So, you get, you know,
Is there anything that we as a council could do to help you, other than make you lock your door and not let anybody in
leave
and?
me there, just leave me there to do my job.
We got
Well,
35 days.
how much money would we lose if we didn't get this in by December the 1st?
34,000.
And we can't afford that.
No, we can't.
Absolutely, I cannot afford it. You got any ideas?
What? We don't need ideas, we just do the job.
No, but I'm thinking the ideas to help you out so that you can get it done. I don't know.
Yeah. Lock that door back there, unplug all the phones, do your job.
I can do it, it's not, I just need to be just left alone to
All
do my
right,
job.
then let's,
And the budget's not a fun thing either, but,
the budget,
well, we're not gonna lose money if we
right.
fail to get, we can get the budget done in December. But for November is EBIT time, because no matter what, there's still work that has to be done in November that you can't just walk away from. You still have to pay bills and have meetings. So, just like I said, it's just an FYI.
Committee reports, DPW.
Well, I can tell you a few things that the guy's been doing. DPW attended a sewer class in Kalamazoo, and that was what, last week?
Yep.
Bear with me, I don't have any voice. They received credit hours for wastewater, 0.6, and received 0.6 credit hours for water. And that was again in Kalamazoo. So anytime they can do a class to help their certifications, and it's close like that, it's great to be able to do it. Now, they've been flushing hydrants. I think you're done with that,
All
right?
done.
All done with that. We started the leaf pickup, and that's going good. And they also have replaced the tires on the water truck and the backhoe, right?
Yep, the front tires on the back.
Okay, so that's got it done. And that's all I got.
Personnel Committee, discuss possible need to hire additional crossing guards and advertise.
We have a situation with the crossing guards. I had to pull in an emergency person a couple weeks ago, and we were already using our backups to the backup. So we're gonna, TJ and Tim are trained to be, they were supposed to be secondary backups. We're getting to a situation where we're gonna need to get another person in there and trained. Even if they're an on-hold person and a secondary backup, we at least need to have somebody in queue to step into the position in the event that we need somebody.
So it would be an advertisement for at least one.
Yeah, I wouldn't go with more than one, but that's why I wanted to talk to the committee to see how they want it handled. So I just needed we need to get together.
The emergency person, would be willing to step ahead, or do we still have to advertise?
The emergency person, the backup to the backup is our DPW, Tim and TJ, right?
I would- I would
So
rather
the
s-
goal was to never use them, even though they were
That's what I'm
trained.
saying, I would like to see another person hired so that these guys can get on with their job and they don't have to stop and be
Right.
crossing guards.
Right,
I agree.
Yep.
so that's why,
Is this something
We
that we
need
could
to
do tonight, just ask,
Sure.
advertise for a full-time?
Is one gonna be enough though?
that's really why I wanna talk to the committee in some detail. Because I don't know how many for sure, and we need to really talk about it.
We should get at least two.
All right, two
Okay.
of these.
Go for two.
Well,
You know, you aren't, you're,
tell us more of the situation that we have. Are we gonna be losing one, or is this,
I don't know,
We've got two ladies whose health is not the
it's not
greatest.
good?
which is why I'm reluctant to talk about it.
Okay, I understand. Why don't we go ahead and advertise for two and get
You
this
don't-
ball rolling if we can,
You don't have to advertise for a quantity, you just say,
okay?
for people looking
Okay,
or interested, respond here.
Okay.
And you know,
And then you guys can decide
Yeah.
okay,
what you
that
wanna
would
do.
be good.
that way we can get the ball rolling.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Now, do you need that in the form of a motion?
Just because I'm gonna be advertising, yes.
Would you like to make that, because my voice is gone?
I make a motion that we advertise for hiring, we don't want a quantity.
Right.
Hiring new crossings, yeah, almost as bad as you are. Hiring crossing guards,
School crossing.
school crossing, crews.
School crossing guards.
School crossing guards.
Okay, and I'll second it.
And you can get with Mary Kay and, or you can give them what the hours would be and then they would have to be trained.
where do they go to Cass County for training or?
No, we do it right
Do
here.
local training?
I have a AAA video and then they have to spend X amount of hours. I talked to somebody last week, I think it was, about choosing crossing guards and some of the responsibilities that go with that, and wondered if we needed to do sort of a psychological test. The sheriff's department sent me to their person who does their test, who said she could do the test, it's about $500. But she said it's not gonna provide us with the information we want, she said, so just do your RO, I can't remember what it's called, there's two background checks that we would do for a crossing guard. And then the standard drug test for hiring.
Okay.
Okay, let's get it rolling.
Roll call.
Okay.
We had a motion and a second, didn't we? Roll call.
Mr. Welborn,
Yes.
Mr. Irwin,
Yes.
News and on the web.
Simmons,
Yes,
Thomas,
Yes.
and Webb.
You wanted that added, do you think that ought to be added on there, Bert, to Marcellus News and the web? Is that what you're saying?
Add that to your motion.
please.
And so then we just need an appointment,
An appointment for what?
because we didn't, in the last 2 weeks, we haven't had a meeting, we still have some things to look at with the handbook.
Oh,
and
we're
the
talking
comments.
about the handbook now, I'm sorry, I thought we were still on crossing guards. Yes,
Got a date?
make it easy on yourself, Krista. I mean, you know, what, is Monday better for you than Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, or?
Mondays
I know
are not
afternoons
good.
are better for
I have to have
Dennis.
afternoons.
Dennis has to have afternoons.
So Mondays aren't good. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays are good. I know that's not the best for you.
I have nothing. Wednesday morning is really the only thing that I've got. Wednesday morning and then every other Friday
What day
morning
is the 2nd? November 2nd?
is a Monday.
Okay, so book that day, don't matter.
Don't want it?
Tuesday's election day. Do we got anything going on for that?
No. I don't have to work election. We don't have an
So,
election.
November-
ourselves.
So now, November 3rd?
Yeah, that works for me.
November 3rd.
Say 1 o'clock.
Yeah, 1-ish. Okay. That's,
1
that's
p.m.
good enough.
Did you say 1, sorry?
1 PM.
Okay.
Tennis program?
That was
Are you all
with-
set?
That was with that same,
Oh, okay.
That takes care of the personnel committee, I think.
Mesa?
The only thing I can report is that last night we held our first budget hearing, not hearing, meeting,
workshop.
workshop. We
First one ever, or just the first time this year?
First one this year.
Okay.
We're
First
gonna
time
have
in
several
2016.
because we've got some real financial problems. We need
I
to,
heard some of them.
yeah, so.
I sat in on that meeting and I was startled to find in the aftermath of that, that the EMT had, ambulance service had, well, essentially on a more than half-time position, and I assume it constitutes his employment period, is not covered by health insurance.
Bobby, you think?
And my sense too is that he is seriously underpaid.
right.
Now, those are not direct problems for this body, but
You
it
missed
is
the last
part
one.
of,
Bert, back up a little bit, because we were talking, I'm sorry. You said, and also seriously underpaid.
yes.
And that's why I asked to speak with the personnel committee.
Oh, wait a minute,
The
I
other-
am totally confused.
The other personnel committee, the Mesa personnel committee.
Oh, okay, I'm thinking,
Yes.
why did?
Yeah,
Yeah, yes, it's like, why?
yeah.
Okay.
And just to take what you're
Sure.
saying there, when I set our insurance up, the last 2 times, and this time, we have, there's an arrangement that we made called an affiliate insured or something like that. It doesn't, it allows for the village to put Bobby under their insurance should Mesa so choose. And I introduced that to the previous Mesa board, that if it's available to you if you want it. That's all.
Can you
So,
remember what the price was? I'm just curious,
what I told you last meeting. That's what do you remember last meeting? It's pricey.
You'll have the paperwork coming up from last meeting.
Or I can
It's
look
gonna
it
be
up
the
for
same
you
him as
tomorrow.
our employees.
Oh, okay.
It's pricey, but if you just did Bobby, and I talked with Bobby at length about it, and, you know, but then the other thing came about, the financial concern, and I was almost afraid to go to the committee and ask, but it's been this way for 5 years, it's not right.
One other thing you might put into your medium to long-term planning on this, that is undoubtedly from the township standpoint, and to some extent from the village standpoint, there would be some positive outcomes to enlarging local village support for fire and ambulance operations. The current millage is for capital expenditures rather than ordinary operations, which are funded otherwise out of general fund of village and township. But I think that it certainly will relieve insoluble pressures on the township. and we'll reduce some pressure on the village if that type of proposal goes through. But that's up to the village and more importantly to the township to work out. But there is a cash flow problem. And secondly, I think from fire and ambulance, a need for additional resources in a dependable way. But that's nothing to take action on now, but simply to put into your thinking caps in terms of what may come ahead.
It's actually nothing for this board to really consider.
No, I just wanted to make everyone aware that the
Right.
insurance is available through the village, if
Mhm.
that's of any assistance.
I know Bobby and I are trying to, but anyhow, Bobby and I are trying to figure out a way where the association or the membership can, I guess for lack of better words, is to say, alleviate some of the problem money-wise, where the association would have some type of money-making project for something that we want, or we feel we need.
They used to do that many years ago, fundraisers and that kind of stuff. People get busy and it just doesn't work out like it used to.
Well, then times have changed, and the economy isn't what it was back 10, 15, 20 years ago.
We just need to work it out and we need to all be friendly about it and do our parts, and that's what's important. Okay.
It all
DDA, that would be me. No meeting, lack of quorum.
Is everybody on holiday?
I guess. Planning Commission.
And we had a meeting last Tuesday. Doug brought the ordinance to us. And we, each one of us took it home, we're gonna tear it apart and go through it and see if there's any typos, whatever. And we're gonna have a special meeting next month to finalize everything, and then you guys hopefully will have we're gonna have our public hearing during the village council meeting. That would be easy, because nobody comes to our planning commission meetings.
Yeah.
I mean, we get zero.
Yeah.
And that way, some people come to council meeting, they have a question during that time, they can ask us on the ordinance. That's gonna be, I believe, if I remember right, shooting for, February 9th. During your meeting. Then that should be carved in stone by, after that, so, at some point in time.
What would be February 9th, Jen? The final, the adoption?
That, you guys would, got you guys to go through and approve, I believe, and our public hearing. 'Cause we got a real short time frame.
Mhm.
Maybe we got like 15 days from the one process, and we figure, oh, February 9th, that would give us far enough time ahead to get from the lawyers to go through everything,
Okay.
and then hopefully be on stone by then.
Did you enjoy it, Jim?
It was my first meeting. It wasn't bad.
We threw
We got along.
We threw him in a deep end of the pool because he was at the end of the process of us picking what area we had to go through the ordinance and change and remove and add. He saw the final piece to the puzzle. He was there when the puzzle was being put together.
Doug said he made 11 copies. He gave me one, he gave you guys 5. Where are the other 5? I thought they were, I just assumed they were for the village council.
I
Haven't seen
called
them?
them to find out, but we had 5 of us and you had, what, 6? And those
Yeah.
were just a draft copy. It wasn't nothing really,
Right, it was, for a draft, it's beautiful. Wait till you see the
Yeah.
real one. Okay, I just wondered, he had said 11 and
No,
I
he,
hadn't seen the other 5 and I thought maybe they were supposed to come here or,
I can find out.
okay.
And, I'd like to maybe, when we have our special meeting, it would be okay to set our dates and times at that meeting
For next year?
for next year. Because we meet quarterly, and I'd like to start out first of the year, and I'll have the first meeting, have our meetings.
I think for the village council, it's required before the end of the year, but I don't think I've ever seen anything
Right.
about planning commissions having to have theirs established by the end of the year, their meeting dates.
Oh, it would be useful at the next meeting to establish their schedule for 2015, or 2016, pardon me, yes.
And your meeting, next meeting is,
November 17th, our special meeting.
okay,
And simply as a matter of form, best done before the end of the current year for the next year. Otherwise, first meeting of the 2016, either one will do. For Open Meetings Act purposes.
That's it.
Other, are we ready to move on?
the Christmas in the Village Committee would like to request your blessing to hold the event again in 2015 on December 5th, the first Saturday of the year, of the month, and we're still not clear on the times. I don't know how many years this has gone on, but many years ago, we started requesting that a DPW staff member be on call because Dennis one night came into town and there was a blizzard and we had been shoveling all day long and he kindly decided to go plow the fire department lot and made someone very angry. And Mr. Davis and I spent the rest of the evening shoveling out. He didn't do anything wrong. He was just trying to be helpful. So since that time, we have scheduled a DPW person to be on call, to come in and clean the sidewalks before the event.
She was the angry person.
I don't even know who turned it in, but
They said that he plowed the fire truck in where they couldn't get out. Even though through the giant pile of snow, there
It was
were
a
fire
blizzard.
truck tracks through it.
Yeah.
So really what happened was the fire truck drove through the giant pile of snow.
that was a
So-
blizzard.
Was that really a fire truck, or was that somebody's personal vehicle?
No, it was a fire truck. I'll tell you about it later. You weren't there. So you weren't the angry person that night. Mr. Davis and I were pretty angry as we spent the rest of the evening shoveling. Anyhow,
And
can we do
would-
that and-
That event, the indoor part of that event would be held at the fire station.
Yep. We do the same thing with Santa. We have a much more restricted area, no parade this year. Just a little cut where we're gonna ask for a fire truck to be at this end of the street and that end of the street, just to block it long enough for Santa to make a grand entrance and then move on.
I move that the village council approve and authorize the 2015 forum of Christmas in the Village to be held on Saturday, December 5, 2015, with the understanding that the interior of the Marcellus Fire Department area will be available as in years past, and DPW employee be on call for such assistance as may be required.
I'll second it.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Do you want to add something about the DPW?
He did.
He did.
Oh,
He did.
I didn't hear that first.
Deputy clerk. I've had another problem come up that I'm sick and tired of Marcellus.org. I'm sick and tired of the vulgarity and what takes place. And I'm sick and tired of this individual being associated with the village, that I think he gives the village council and the village a bad opinion. And for the good of the village, because of too much controversy and vulgarities on his website, I would like to terminate Mr. John Surratt.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I want you to know that the information that you had was a private, it was an IM, not on his website. Just so you know, I'm not saying anything else, I'm just saying that I'm sure that there was a lot more to that conversation, and it was a private message. It would be like me texting a friend of mine. It was not affiliated with the MMO.
I got a motion on the floor.
I'll support.
Roll call.
I'm not sure where I am, so I'll just go to the top.
All right.
Mr. Irwin,
Yes.
Simmons,
I don't want to vote.
You can pass it.
Thank you, that, I was trying to think, I'm passing.
you're allowed to do that?
Burke's done it before.
Thomas,
Yes.
Webb,
No, but I think that my concern is, has there been any notice to the object of the motion? Anyway, but go ahead with roll call.
Mr. Welber.
Yes. Motion carried.
And with unanimous consent of the council, may we assume that the termination is effective immediately?
Immediately. Yes.
Is that the
Yes.
consensus?
Yes.
All right. And so the maker and second agree.
First, I would like to have John not have any access to any of the equipment back in your office. He can clean out his stuff or whatever,
But not touch.
but not touch any of the electronic equipment.
Okay, but
And-
that,
Go ahead.
okay. I'm gonna need somebody to repair my computer.
We'll get you people.
Okay.
Okay, we got the clerk manager's review. Would you like us to go into closed session?
Yes.
I need a motion to go into closed session.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session for the clerk manager's review.
I'll second it.
They're gonna be a roll call, Burke? Roll call.
Simmons,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Webb,
Yes.
Wellgren,
Yes.
Irwin.
Yes. So do I.
Okay, take a break.
Meeting began about or shortly after 6:31 PM this evening and ended at 9:24 PM.
You said closed session, Burke. You didn't.
The closed session
Began.
ran
At 6:31?
No. It's later than that.
Yeah.
I'll have to look
7:30.
at my clock. What'd you have, Mary
7:30.
Kay?
I had 7:30.
7:30.
7:30.
7:31?
Okay.
Yes, that's right, that's right. 7:31 and ending at 9:24.
I would like to make a request to the council that you would accept my resignation as village manager effective November 10th with written details to follow.
That will be filed at on or before that meeting.
If you want to before, sure.
Well.
What
all I'm-
filed?
No, all I'm saying is on or before the November 10 meeting, I move that Mrs. Jordan's oral resignation as village manager be accepted with thanks for her service as manager with the effective date of that resignation to be November 10, 2015, at the adjournment of that council meeting.
I second that motion. Roll call.
Irwin,
Yes.
Simmons.
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Webb,
Yes.
Welborn.
Yes.
There's a follow-up motion that I think should be made, and that is, I move that Mrs. Jordan continue to be retained as village clerk of the village of Marcellus, and that her compensation shall not be changed from that now received as clerk manager on and after her resignation becomes effective.
I'll second
November
that.
10, 2015.
Let's have a roll call.
Simmons,
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Webb,
Yes.
Welborn.
Yes.
Irwin.
Yes.
Motion carried.
I make a motion the meeting be adjourned?
We
Oh,
have public comment.
Now, I think one other
Don't
thing,
even.
one other thing, the deputy clerk having been dismissed, question whether this body wishes to advertise a vacancy in that position and for a new hire to be made, or the thought occurs to me that it would be useful for the Personnel and DPW Committee to develop its own list of duties and responsibilities of the position of village clerk and village manager as a separate position. And perhaps when you meet on that, it would be useful to consider what a deputy clerk should do. And perhaps I shouldn't anticipate the matter of the deputy clerk.
Wouldn't the deputy
wait
clerk
on
do the
that
same thing as a
meeting.
clerk?
Pardon?
Wouldn't the deputy clerk do the same thing as a clerk? I mean,
Oh,
her job?
Yes. On the other
Description.
hand, I think that in terms of duty and function, they need not be identical in authority because you've created your own animal by making it an employed position. But anyway, you can move to advertise now or at a later date when you see the need.
I would really not like to move on that right away. I think, let's get things
Let's
settled
get
back
things
into
straightened
place
out
and
first.
organized, and then.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Is that okay, Mr. Webb?
Anyway, may I assume that the Personnel and DPW Committee will review the matter of clerk and manager in terms of function?
We'll work on that on our meeting of the 3rd.
Okay.
we're bringing our jammies.
Can we bring a little wine?
Public comment?
I have one.
You're not the
Quite
public.
unrelated to this, that has gone before. And that is, I don't know what the effect of the district court proceeding with respect to the Bradley property on Monroe was, other than the fact that the report shows that Mr. Bradley did not appear. However, in terms of long-range future planning on the part of the village and DPW operations, I think that the village ought to look at that property as worthy of acquisition. And I have no interest in taking advantage of people or particular situations, but That has been my position for some years, and I have voiced it previously to the administration. So that's simply a future planning matter, and so if or when the property becomes available, I think that ought to be
We
pursued.
need to take a look at it.
Of course, we get no money, but I would think that the thought could be, when we think we can afford it, which I think is what Mr. Webb is saying, that we ought to approach Steve if he's still owning that property and give a land contract or something to buy that property. But I don't wanna make it look like we're vultures coming in there and scooping
Right.
it.
Yeah, we should actually talk about that
Right.
later.
Later?
Mhm.
Well, I'm just throwing that out there, that
Yeah,
that's something that
but
could
it's
take
something
place
that
down the
we should-
road.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Ready?
Are we ready to adjourn?
I make a motion we may be adjourned at 9:33.
I'll second it.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. Is this mine or is this yours?